Welcome back to Mumbai and Marine Drive, the spectacular backdrop to this city. Now, throughout the programme, we've been asking the simple question, what is it like to be a woman living in India in 2015? It was the theme of the Republic Day celebrations when President Obama was here. It's been on the front page of Vogue India. It was also the centrepiece of Mumbai's Fashion Week. Mumbai, Milan, Paris, New York, catwalks around the world look pretty much the same. And so does backstage, mayhem, makeup, quick changes, the odd tantrum. But fashion in India or anywhere else is intertwined with change. And in this country, the modern, the tradition can often be used as themes. Sometimes, though, they totally collide. Well, Pearl Shah used to work for Marie Claire. She's now the editor of The Juice. Let me just interrupt you for a minute or two. How fast are fashions changing in this country?
Really fast. It's super fast. Everything you watch on the runway is live on YouTube, instantly shoppable. It's, instantly sharing, they're sharing it on Facebook, so it's really fast.
And in terms of the clothes you're seeing then, is that absolutely evident?
Yeah, completely, because, earlier there was this big shift in like Indian wear and bridal wear. But, the stage that I'm styling is an alternative stage called Jabong stage, which is especially for young designers. And young Indian designers are really experimental. Like if you see this cape right here, there's a lot of embroidery, but it's a really Western silhouette. And, it's the same thing with like tier 2 cities. They're picking up trends super fast. So if you're seeing torn jeans on the runway, it's translating into like jeggings that people are wearing under kurtas.
And traditionalists in any country perhaps sometimes resist these sort of things. This is a country where people quite often talk about dressing modestly. Is there any sort of tension there?
I don't feel it because I'm in urban India. But, of course, there are some sections which find difficulty and, want to rule how women should or should not dress. However, Indian women...
you've talked about moral police, haven't you?
Exactly, I have. But, I think Indian women are educated now. They're really out there and they know what they want.
Just a final thought, because Marie Claire described their woman in India as being independent, spending their own money, making their own choices. That may be true of the middle classes, but is it true for the vast majority of India, for women?
Well, I hope if it isn't, that it should be. And I think this is the direction India's moving forward in. And, with accessibility, like if you notice, e-commerce is going mobile. Everyone I know has a smartphone, from, the doorman to the handyman. And they're all, shopping online on their mobile. So, India's catching up very quickly to the mobile retail revolution.
Pearl, you're busy, so I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you
Thanks
so much,
very much.
Matthew.
Well, Fashion Week started with a show from India's famous designer, Manish Malhotra. Now, I caught up with him and we talked about the show, about social attitudes and, of course, about clothes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on your show.
You started Fashion Week with a show entitled Women's Rights. Why?
Well, the show was called The Blue Runway, and it was in association with the World Bank. And they've just recently started an initiative called We Evolve. And it raises a point on gender-based violence, and it speaks about gender-based violence, which is, I think, a world problem today. And for me, I think at Fashion Week, where there's such an interest of the youth, and it's got such, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, it's got, the young looking at it. And I think at places like these, if we raise a issue-based problem today, which is a worldwide issue, I think, it gives an integrity to what you do.
You don't think there will be those that dismiss all of that as some sort of stunt?
No, I don't think so. I think when something's done genuinely and purely, it's not a stunt. And not that I went crazy, became a social reformist about it and said that, no, I did it in my way.
Now, if you look at the gowns, I mean, the embroidery, the hand embroidery is absolutely stunning. Tell me a little more about who you get to do that and how you employ them, because I've read about it and the way you do it is quite interesting.
Mijwa is a small village. There the women do this beautiful art form called chikankari. It's thread embroidery, and they don't do it on a bed-like thing. They actually have that ring, so it's very hand. It's like that old school of that. So it's even more beautiful and timeless. and they take it home, and once they've had their dinner, they sit in the night and do it. So even with the work of the women, the work that they do, I promised them that I would take their work to film stars to wear it. I would take it to fashion weeks, and it would be out there. When they must be seeing that photograph of a film star wearing it, can you imagine the joy that they must be going through?
And of course you dress just the who's who of Bollywood. I mean, is there a pressure in that for you?
But I think I have a very different journey. I haven't studied fashion. I used to sketch and draw, and I was so passionate from the age of 4 that I used to keep telling my mother, your sari is not nice, and why have you put this makeup? And I used to paint and sketch. And then when I worked in a boutique as a sales boy, and I so much enjoyed being in clothes and sketching. Then I started with 2 tailors in my room. But I was so fascinated by Indian cinema and Indian movies in the 70s when I was growing up in influential years. I thought that, let me get into costume. So the word stylist is what I introduced in Indian movies in the 90s.
The fashion industry at different stages is criticised often for being exploitative of women, making them feel they need to look a certain way, dress a certain way. In Europe, in America, that whole debate around size 0, for example, is that a debate that's been had
that
here?
I also look forward to. I mean, I feel that beauty is, the way you feel is the way you look. And I don't believe in size 0 myself. And however, that you can't have size 10 on the ramp either, So, but I think...
Why not?
Because I think that you are selling a dream. You're selling an aspiration. You're selling an inspiration. I must, for example, right now I'm like, this is my year to lose weight. And the other day I went and bought a medium shirt and I wore it and it fitted me, and my God, I was so excited about it that I managed to squeeze into it. And so I have a lot more to work. I want that so the clothes become an inspiration as well.
But that's why I asked you, is that a difficult balance to have all of that, but at the same time talk about women's rights?
What has women's rights got to do with something that is talking about healthy or fit or energetic or looking glamorous? No. I think that's exactly my point, that I don't want to, be a social reformist and say, oh my God, this is what it is, and everything else you've got to do with that profession is wrong. No. I'm saying everything in life is a balance. It's like a balance of life. You do a yoga, you go for a walk, you eat well, you have a drink if you want to. So if you do everything in a balanced way, it's all fine, right? You don't have to choose one over the other.
I was reading an interview you gave, and you described yourself as either working, thinking about work, planning work. Is it really? That's what it's like, 24/7?
Because I think that, unlike many film directors, and actors and designers and artists, painters, I don't look at myself as an artist. I look at myself as somebody who's blessed and who does something that he loves to do. So there are a lot of people telling me that, we've always admired your clothes and everything, but this show was so different from what you do, though it's in the genre that you do. And to me, that is what I'm looking at, and that's what I'm looking for. And to me, I think work is not work. It's a holiday.
Well, away from Fashion Week to all of this, the madness of traffic in Mumbai. I've been coming here for years and years and always wondered, how do you actually learn to drive in a city like this? Well, I decided to find out, to book a driving lesson with Mumbai's only female driving instructor. Let's have a look. She can drive. The question is, can I? Now, this seemed like a good idea at the time. I'm beginning to doubt it. So here we go, Sneha. Give me a tip before I get going.
The most important criteria for driving is not to panic.
Crazy straight away. I mean,
Yes,
there's
it is
so
crazy.
much to look at. You've got cars, you've got people, you've got bikes, you've got rickshaws, these
You've
buses.
got everything. You've got a truck. You've got everything you look for. If the bus behind you is honking and if you don't allow the bus to go...
Well, I've got a bus behind me now, look.
Yes, if you don't allow him to, you will see what happens next. So try that, and he's going to go very close by you. And that's where the panic button starts.
My
You saw
goodness,
that?
I've got to get on
You
to that
saw
bus.
That? Yes.
And look, people
And people are crossing. So that's how
my
crazy Mumbai
goodness.
is.
My goodness. And now the bikes, both sides of me.
Yes. This doesn't
So
have
look, I should stop. This is zebra crossing.
yeah, but he's not supposed to.
But I'm getting beeped by all of these people. He's not stopped. So what should I do? Go,
You have
I
to go.
suppose.
You have to go.
Wow.
This is how
That's
it's supposed.
mayhem.
You
And
can
a
see.
bus.
You can see this.
So how long, okay, you put somebody into all of this as a learner.
Yes.
How long does it take them to
10
actually
days.
get to the 10 days?
In 10 days, they're on the road on their own,
On their own?
independently, solo. And that's what I call this solo driving.
I feel very bad because I'm 5-7 minutes in and I haven't used my horn. I'm just going to give it a test like everybody else. But now look, people are driving like this, like no rules. How difficult is the test in Mumbai when people actually have to end up taking the test to pass?
They have an area inside where they will
Inside?
just make you sit in the car, push the ignition button, and there you go, you get the license.
You are kidding me.
Yes,
So there's no
it is.
test on the road?
It's
In
no
all of
test
this,
on the
you're
road.
not tested
It is
to
not.
see how you
There
get
is-
on?
It's a sad thing. We get our licenses even before we know to drive.
Now here we go. We've got another hazard that
Yeah. Oh,
I've
we
got to
are onto the
navigate.
tracks
We've got the
too.
cows
On the
on the
road.
road. I've got this guy beeping. Now look, you've been doing it 3 years or so. How many pranks, how many crashes have you had in that time?
Not a
None.
single one as of now.
None.
None. None.
Wow. You must be a good teacher.
I am.